Hi guys, welcome to another lesson. As ever, do now questions. If you'd like to do these, please pause the video and try them on your own, and I'll go over the answers. I'll read out the questions as always. Question number 1, what does pH stand for? What does pH stand for? Question 2, what colour are strong acids when we use indicators? What colour are strong acids when we use indicators? And number 3, what is more acidic, milk or water? What is more acidic, milk or water? Pause the video here if you don't want to see the answers straight away. Okay, pH stands for potential hydrogen. So pH stands for potential hydrogen. Question 2, what colour are strong acids when we use indicators? They show up as a kind of pinky red, and as you get more neutral, they're kind of green, and bases are blue. What is more acidic, milk or water? And the answer is actually milk. So again, I talked about that in the last lesson as being a little bit counterintuitive. We think milk would probably not be acidic at all because it has kind of calming properties, I guess, when you drink it if you eat some chili sauce, but it's slightly more acidic than water. Okay, today we're going to look at the chemistry of burgers, so I hope you've had your lunch. I apologise if I make you hungry, but basically we're going to be covering quite a few different concepts, and I was kind of thinking, well, actually we talk about burgers, we can talk about the majority of things that I want to talk about today. So, how do we get a burger? Well, we need to start off with the food chain. As you probably know, I hope you know, beef burgers come from cows, and cows get nice and fat and put meat on when they eat lots of grass. So all of the food chains, every food web or food chain will start with what we call a primary producer. A primary producer could be like a plant, or it could be phytoplankton if we're talking about the oceans. And primary producers have the ability to conduct photosynthesis, which we've spoken about quite a bit. And photosynthesis is the chemical reaction in which plants or photosynthetic algae can generate glucose, so energy and sugar, and oxygen from sunlight. And they need carbon dioxide and water to do so. So they can produce sugar using sunlight and a few other chemicals, which is amazing. That energy is then eaten by a primary consumer, like the cow. So the primary consumer is the cow or any animal that eats directly on the grass or the vegetables. And then the primary consumer can be eaten in some cases by a secondary, even a tertiary consumer, depending how complicated the food chain gets. And the secondary consumer then gets the energy, the collective energy that the primary producer has collected from eating the primary consumer has collected from eating the primary producer. So we have a very simple food chain here that is needed to create our burger. So I talked about photosynthesis, and hopefully this is now looking a little bit familiar when we had the chemical equation last time. And it's important because I'm going to talk about this again later on at the end of this lesson. But photosynthesis, if we look at this nice little diagram, needs carbon dioxide, which is a gas. The plant needs water, and it needs sunlight. And as a result, they say here in the diagram that it produces carbohydrates. We're just talking about glucose, and oxygen is a waste product. So if you look at the chemical formula at the bottom, 6 CO2, so 6 carbon dioxides, plus 6 H2O, 6 water molecules, with sunlight leads to photosynthesis. Photosynthesis then results in the products of glucose and oxygen. So this is really important. All food chains start with some primary producer. And the primary producer, what we're talking about, the production, is the production of glucose, essentially, from sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide. So we cannot do that. Without plants, we would not be here. So photosynthesis requires light energy from the sun. And photosynthesis is the chemical reaction that produces glucose in plants, and this energy can be transferred up the food chain. So say we're making our burger and we want lettuce, tomato, and the beef patty. All of those things are related to the photosynthetic properties of plants. The lettuce is a primary producer. The tomato is also a primary producer. The beef is not, but is part of a primary consumer, and that's how we get these three ingredients. Now, these three ingredients alone are a good start, but that does not make the burger. We're missing a key component. We need to make the bun. How do we make the bun? Well, I'm glad you asked. The bun is made by baking. And we have a process called fermentation. And we use yeast. So yeast is a single-celled microscopic fungus which uses sugar as food. During the bread making, the baker is interested in the carbon dioxide that the yeast produces, and the gas makes the dough rise before baking. And you can see a significant rise once it has been baked. So you can see this little dish here is bread that is about to go in the oven, and as it's baking, CO2, a lot of CO2 is released in the dough, and that causes the dough to rise. A brewer is interested in both the alcohol and the carbon dioxide made by the yeast. So a small trace amount of alcohol is actually made as well when we make bread, but that usually burns off in the process. Brewers, if they're making beer, want to retain the alcohol and the carbon dioxide as well. So beer is expected to be alcoholic, and the carbon dioxide gives the characteristic fizz. So if you've seen a beer or a pint of beer and you see the bubbles, that's carbon dioxide, and there's also got alcohol inside of it as well. So they're both made in a very similar way, beer and bread, and that's through the process of fermentation. So fermentation, also known as anaerobic respiration, is another name for the production of energy from food without using oxygen. When yeast ferments glucose, the process can be represented by the following equation. So glucose plus yeast can turn into alcohol plus carbon dioxide plus energy. So glucose, which is the sugar that is produced from photosynthesis, when yeast gets a hold of that, the yeast uses the sugar for energy, breaks it down, and it's broken down into these three products: alcohol, carbon dioxide, and energy. The term respiration describes any chemical process which releases energy from food, and there are two main types of respiration. Aerobic respiration needs oxygen. Anaerobic respiration happens when no oxygen is available. So if you think about right now, I'm taking in a deep breath. I need oxygen to breathe, as all of us do. That is because our cells need to use aerobic respiration. So we're not going to go into in too much detail. I will touch upon it in this lesson. But when I eat food, how do I actually get access to that energy? So I eat it, it goes into my stomach and it's digested. But my cells, I've got trillions and trillions of cells in my body. How does each one of my cells get enough energy to function and do what it's supposed to do in my body? Well, the answer is through aerobic respiration. So we need oxygen. That's why we breathe in all the time. Oxygen molecules are sent in our blood to the tips of our toes to the end of our heads, and we need oxygen flooded through our body for our body to function. The main reason for that is for respiration to occur. Anaerobic respiration then is when respiration happens but no oxygen is available, and that is the process of fermentation that we've just talked about here. So really interesting areas of chemistry, but also related to biology. Okay, so we're getting to the part where we can actually eat our burger. We've got our bun, we've made that from fermentation. Our lettuce and tomato has been made through primary production, and the beef patty has been made through the primary consumer, the cow. So when we have our burger, we may start to salivate. If you think about right now your most favourite food, you actually start to salivate. And saliva isn't just gross, something that is sitting in your mouth for no reason. It does have a function. One of the main reasons for saliva is to help break down the food. So if you make it wet, it makes it easier to chew and swallow and then digest. But there's something a lot more clever going on that we might not appreciate as well. There's actually chemicals inside of our saliva that starts breaking food down immediately when it comes into our mouth. So your teeth help break down food like cutlery. This is called mechanical breakdown. But the chemicals that are released in your saliva help speed up the breakdown of food. Because, we could chew our burger a bit, but if you swallow the burger without any saliva, it'd be really hard to swallow something that dry. But also the enzymes in your saliva, which I'll talk about in a little second, help break down parts of the food in your mouth. One such chemical is called salivary amylase, which is an enzyme in the mouth that initiates the digestion of carbohydrates. So amylase is an enzyme. So you may have heard of an enzyme before, you may not. So we'll give a quick definition of an enzyme. But amylase is released in your saliva and helps break down types of food. So enzymes are called biological catalysts because all reactions in living things depend on enzymes. A catalyst is a substance that increases the rate of a chemical reaction without itself undergoing any permanent chemical change. So, you may have heard of the word catalyst before. If you add a catalyst to something, you can speed it up. In chemistry, we talk about catalysts speeding up chemical reactions. So when we're talking about this one in particular, we're talking about amylase. Amylase is speeding up the chemical breakdown of the food in our mouth. Now, I've used the word catalyst and enzyme. Which is it? Well, catalyst could be used as a general term for everything that speeds up a chemical reaction. And the enzyme is specific to our bodies. So enzymes are biological catalysts. So we have enzymes in our bodies and they act as a catalyst. So when we use this language, it might get a little bit confusing. So an easy way to remember it is I'm a teacher. Okay. So a teacher is a kind of general term for my job description, but specifically I'm a science teacher. So when we think about a catalyst, we're talking quite broadly. We're talking about all things that speed up reactions. When we talk about enzymes, specifically, we're talking about biological enzymes, things that happen in our body. Okay, finally we get to eat our burger, but there's not good news, unfortunately. When we eat our burger, half an hour later, we start to get really bad heartburn. What's happened, the pH in our stomach is even lower now. It's more acidic. So remember, it's already pretty low. You have a pH of about 1 or 2 with a hydrochloric acid. If you eat something too quickly, or you haven't digested it properly, or it disagrees with you, it can raise the pH, or lower the pH, I should say, even more, and cause you to have an upset stomach. You might get a bit of acid reflux. You might get heartburn. And heartburn is where you can feel the pain in your chest after you've ate something. And that's all related to the pH in your stomach is a bit, it's not controlled. So what can we do? Well, the hydrochloric acid in your stomach helps to break down the food, and it's very strong with a pH of less than 1.5 or 1.5. But if you eat too quickly or eat too much of the wrong food, the contents of your stomach become even more acidic. You feel a burning sensation because of the corrosive properties of the acid. What does corrosive mean? Well, you may see when you have some cleaning products, it says corrosive to skin. It basically irritates your skin. So when you have that burning sensation, when you have heartburn, it's because the acid in your stomach is irritating your esophagus, essentially. To relieve the pain of indigestion, you can take an antacid tablet. So I should say antacid. So anti-acid tablet. The active ingredients in an antacid tablet are weak bases, such as aluminum hydroxide, magnesium carbonate, and magnesium hydroxide, which neutralize the acid. The cause of the relief you experience can be described by the chemical word equations such as hydrochloric acid plus aluminum hydroxide turns into aluminum chloride and water, or hydrochloric acid plus magnesium hydroxide can turn to magnesium chloride and water. Hydrochloric acid and magnesium carbonate can lead to magnesium chloride, water, and carbon dioxide. So you can see here the reactants is hydrochloric acid. It's always going to be that because that's your stomach acid. And then you could add one of three things: aluminum hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide, or magnesium carbonate. And these three things will often result in a neutralization reaction. And you can see here that water is produced. So remember, water is a neutral. It's 7. So if you're producing water in the stomach, that could help neutralize the effects as well. And this is actually very similar to what we discussed in the last lesson about the using lime on the soil. Okay, it's too acidic, you add a base, in that time it was calcium carbonate, and that raises the pH to become less acidic. So you're doing the exact same thing with your stomach. You're trying to neutralize the high acidity in your body. So one product of the last reaction is carbon dioxide, so you can burp to get the gas out. So you may have taken some of these things, these indigestion tablets or liquids, medicines, and they might make you gassy as well, make you burp, because it's producing carbon dioxide as one of the products. So you may have seen something like this, and these adverts, when you see them now, what you'll realise is essentially what they're doing is just relieving the person of a high pH, a low pH I should say. They're trying to raise the pH level so it's less acidic. So all of the chemistry that we've been talking about, the pH in soils, citric acids, hydrochloric acids, bases, okay, it's not just something we talk about in a chemistry class. Lots of money can be made if you go into the pharmaceutical industry, and you can produce something if you know a little bit about chemistry, and you can produce a product that helps you deal with some things that hurt people. So chemistry is not just restricted to this classroom and that's you forget about it. Everything you do in your day, eating, taking medicines, drinking, is all related to chemistry in some way or another. So how does our body use the energy? Well, at the beginning of this lesson, I discussed or spoke very briefly about respiration and how we require aerobic respiration to survive. That is getting energy from in the presence of oxygen. So our bodies use energy from our food through a process called metabolism and respiration. You may have heard of metabolism before. Some people say they have a fast or slow metabolism. People with a slower metabolism may appear overweight, or they might think it's quite hard for them to lose weight because their body is very slow at breaking things down, whereas people with a high metabolism may be quite skinny and they break things down very, very quickly indeed. So you could have two people that have slightly different metabolisms and they eat the same foods, but that metabolism can affect their weight, and it's all related to how quickly the chemical reactions break down in the body. Respiration is the process that gets oxygen from the air to the tissues of the body and removes carbon dioxide from the body. Breathe in, you're breathing in oxygen. You breathe out, you're breathing out CO2. So we need oxygen to breathe, and we need to get rid of the waste product CO2. Metabolism refers to all the chemical reactions in the body, including those that use oxygen and create carbon dioxide. So metabolism is really important as well, and we could talk about metabolism for a whole bunch of other lessons, but we'll just talk about respiration a little bit more, I think, in this lesson. So respiration, super important for generating energy that we can use for our cells to grow. The cells are basically the building blocks of our bodies, and if the cells are healthy and have energy, then we are healthy and have energy, okay? Inside of the cell, so we've not looked at the anatomy of a cell. Cells are really complicated. Even though they're quite small, they're really, really cool, complicated. They're like little worlds in their own. And if you look at this animal cell here, you can see the nucleus here. It's kind of in purple. That's where all the DNA is stored. The instructions for the cell are held in here. It's kind of like the database. Then some DNA will leave the nucleus and be taken up by some of the organelles. So if you think of a cell as a human body, it has different organelles that have different functions. So if you think of a cell as a full body, okay? So in my body, I have lungs, I have kidneys, I have a heart, I have intestines. They are all my organs. So within my body, all of my organs are doing specific things. My liver is helping to clean my blood. My kidneys are helping to get rid of waste. My intestines are helping me with digestion. In a cell, we have similar things. We call them organelles. So they're little organelles inside of a cell, and they all have specific functions to do. One of the organelles that is super important, it's kind of like the little factory that lives in your cells and produces energy, is called the mitochondria. The mitochondria are little kidney bean looking things here. And this is where cellular respiration takes place. And here is the chemical formula for cellular respiration. If we take glucose, so C6H12O is glucose, so carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, plus 6 oxygen, and we have this in the mitochondria. The reactants can turn into these products: 6 carbon dioxide molecules, 6 water molecules, and ATP. And ATP is the energy that we can use as animals in our cells. We don't need to know what it stands for at this moment in time. If anyone wants to know and do this a little bit further, we can do a couple of lessons in term 3 I should say, on this. It's quite interesting, but we don't need to go down that road. All you need to know is ATP is just the name we call energy that we use in animals. So we don't use the glucose, but we turn that into something else. So as you see here, we have glucose and oxygen can turn into carbon dioxide, water, and energy. Now, that should kind of look familiar, even though we've not ever looked at the cellular respiration chemical formula before. And that's because it's basically the reverse, or it is the reverse of photosynthesis. Let's have a look at photosynthesis again. If you get 6 carbon dioxides and 6 molecules of water, and you add sunlight energy, then a plant can produce glucose and oxygen. Okay, so plants they breathe out oxygen, they breathe in CO2, they need water, and then that allows them to produce energy and oxygen. Now, if you flip that around, look at humans. If we use glucose and oxygen, okay, look at the end there. If we use glucose and oxygen, we can produce 6 carbon dioxide, water, and energy in the form of ATP. We don't produce sunlight. That would be pretty cool, but we don't. But you can see that we have this amazing relationship with plants. They need CO2. They need to breathe in carbon dioxide, and they breathe out oxygen. We breathe in oxygen and we breathe out carbon dioxide. Without plants, we would not be able to breathe, and they require some CO2 as well, but there's plenty of that being produced without humans needing to breathe out. But if you look at these two chemical equations, they are the reverse. So it's a really cool symbiosis, and I thought the lungs of a human being all branching out, which we breathe in, look very similar to tree branches. Okay, you still have these amazing structures inside of your body that help you breathe, and yeah, the little cool analogy there with the trees breathing out as well. Okay, let's do a couple of questions just to recap. So the chemistry of eating. You should have these questions in your workbook, so if you want to pause now and attempt these, I would highly recommend it, and I'll go through the answers just now. So preparing and eating and digesting food all involve chemical reactions, many of which you already know about. Answer the following questions to find out what you already know about these important chemical reactions. So, all of the food that we eat, including meat, begins with the growth of plants. Question A, 1A. What is the name of the chemical reaction that produces the glucose that plants produce? What is the name of the chemical reaction that produces the glucose that plants produce? And I'll give you a little bit of a hint. It starts with a P. 1B. Which form of energy is necessary to allow this chemical reaction to take place? So what type of energy do plants use in this chemical reaction for it to take place? So let's look at the answer for 1A. What is the name of the chemical reaction? Hopefully you got photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. So synthesizing the rays of sunlight to produce glucose. I've given you an answer there for B. What form of energy? Light energy from the sun. So it uses the light energy from the sun to produce this chemical reaction, which is amazing, really. If you think about it, we just look at the sun, and if you're pale as me, you just get sunburn. But you put that sunlight on a plant, it produces sugar. That's fantastic. Number 2, the baking of bread makes use of a chemical reaction involving yeast and sugar. The same type of reaction is used in brewing to produce alcohol. 2A, what is the name of this chemical reaction? What is the name of this chemical reaction? And 2B, one of the products of this chemical reaction causes bread to rise while it is being baked. what is the name of this product? And the clue is it's a gas. So one of the products of this chemical reaction causes bread to rise while it is being baked. What is the name of this product? And the clue is it's gas. I'll give you another clue. You're breathing it out right now. Okay, the answer to 2A is fermentation. So the name of the chemical reaction, I'll read it again. Chemical reaction involving yeast and sugar is fermentation. And B, the gas that is produced in this reaction is called carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is a really important gas for plants, for us to breathe it out, and for other chemical reactions. So we've seen that quite a lot. But that is a process of fermentation. Okay guys, that was quite a big one, but good. It was interesting. Hamish is saying there are around 2,000 different plant types that humans use to cultivate food. That's huge. There are around 2,000 different plants. I don't think I could name 200, never mind 2,000. So we use 2,000 different types of plants for food. So that's why we have such an amazing diet. We can get anything we really want in this day and age because we can grow things all year round. We've got lots of technology, but there's a lot of chemistry that goes into the growth of these plants, and there's a lot of chemistry going in our bodies to allow us to break down these foods and use the energy. So I hope that was an interesting lesson. I'll hopefully see you guys in the Zoom. I'll see you in the next one.